The void of space shimmered like a mirror, reflecting the distant glimmer of countless stars. A single ship, sleek and silent, cut through the darkness with an elegance that belied its deadly power. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Every corridor hummed with life, the air charged with anticipation. At the heart of the vessel, in the observation chamber, stood the alien queen's daughter, Kalera, her eyes glowing faintly with an inner light unique to her royal bloodline. Beside her, her human husband, Captain Elias Grant, held her infant son, Orion, swaddled in protective energy wraps. This was not a peaceful return. It was a declaration. Kalera's home planet, once a bastion of alien supremacy, had descended into chaos. Factions waged war over the fragments of power left behind by the ancient rulers. The galaxy had believed humans weak, fragile, unable to survive among the titanic threats lurking beyond known space. They had underestimated the human spirit. Elias tightened his grip on Orion, feeling the subtle pulse of the child's latent abilities. Kalera turned her gaze toward the nearest star system, the one that held the capital city of her mother's empire. The alien fleet there was vast, shimmering with weapons that could annihilate entire moons in a single strike. And yet, she smiled, not out of arrogance, but out of the certainty that humans had a way of surviving the impossible. "Mother will not expect us," Kalera whispered. Her voice was soft, but it carried a weight that commanded attention. "The humans taught me resilience, cunning, and unpredictability. These are weapons the galaxy does not comprehend." Elias nodded, his jaw set in determination. He remembered the countless battles fought in human sectors, raids on pirate fleets, survival against hostile alien wildlife, tactical brilliance against foes that dwarfed their technology. Every challenge had forged him. Every impossible victory had proven that humans did not bend. They adapted and overcame. A sudden tremor shook the vessel, alarms blaring as sensors detected the first of the Queen's patrols closing in. Kalera's hand brushed over a console, opening a holographic map of the capital city below. Centuries of architecture, towering spires, and intricate alien designs lay vulnerable, unaware that the daughter they had scorned was returning with a force that could not be measured by mere numbers. Elias activated the ship's cloaking sequence. 50 seconds, he murmured, reading the countdown. The patrol ships were intelligent, relentless, but the humans had created algorithms that even alien minds struggled to predict. Kalera watched him work, pride swelling in her chest. She whispered to Orion, "You carry the blood of 2 worlds. One day, you'll show them what humans and your kind together can achieve." The child cooed softly, unaware of the storm gathering around them, unaware of the galaxy, waiting to test his very existence. Suddenly, the patrol fleet altered its trajectory. They had detected the ship. Elias' fingers flew across the console, deploying decoys, initiating subspace jumps, weaving the ship through impossible paths. Kalera felt the thrill, the raw intensity of survival that humans seemed to carry like second skin. She realized why she had fallen in love with Elias. Not just his courage, but his ingenuity, his unshakable belief that nothing was insurmountable. The ship dropped out of subspace just kilometers from the capital city's outer perimeter. The alien defenses were formidable, but human tactics were unpredictable. Elias and Kalera exchanged a glance, a silent agreement that failure was not an option. They would infiltrate, navigate the labyrinth of politics, treachery, and war, and prove that humans were not mere pawns in this galactic chessboard. Above them, the stars blazed with ancient light, witnesses the first human-led operation to challenge an empire older than Earth itself. And as the child slept in his father's arms, the galaxy trembled unknowingly at the dawn of a force it had never truly understood. The first strike would not be simple. It would demand intelligence, courage, and the unyielding human resolve that carried civilizations through extinction events, asteroid storms, and hostile alien invasions. The Queen's forces would not anticipate a human mind, one that saw opportunities in chaos and weakness in perfection. Kalera adjusted her grip on her sword, a relic of her mother's dynasty, pulsating with energy. Elias armed the human-modified plasma rifle, each mechanism a testament to innovation born from scarcity and danger. Together, they were an anomaly. Together, they were unstoppable. And in the shadows of the city, Enemies stirred, unaware that the most dangerous force they would ever encounter was not alien, but human ingenuity paired with royal fury. The moment had arrived. The first battle of a war that would shake the foundations of the galaxy was about to begin. The city below sprawled like a living organism, its spires piercing the clouds, energy conduits pulsing with life, and alien sentries patrolling every avenue with cold precision. Kalara and Elias crouched in the shadows atop a narrow platform, observing the patrols. Elias whispered, "Sensors indicate blind spots in their grid here and here." He traced the points on a holographic overlay, his fingers steady, precise. Humans had learned to read patterns in chaos, to find weakness in seemingly flawless systems. Kalara nodded, adjusting Orion in his carrier. The child's tiny fingers curled around hers, almost sensing the tension that vibrated in the air. She felt the familiar surge of energy, royal blood intertwined with human courage, coiling like a spring, ready to strike. "On my mark," she said. "The first step will be simple for the inexperienced eye. Cross a courtyard, bypass security towers, and enter the inner ring." For humans, simplicity often concealed brilliance. Elias activated a compact drone, sending it skimming silently across the courtyard. It scanned defenses, mapped patrol paths, and even projected illusions to distract the sensors. The patrols responded, momentarily confused, giving the human pair their opening. They moved like shadows, blending into the alien architecture with practiced ease. Every movement was calculated, every breath synchronized with the rhythm of the city. Kalara's eyes glimmered as she analyzed the sentries, predicting reactions faster than they could blink. Elias mirrored her efficiency, adapting his strategy as the patrols shifted. A sudden alarm blared. A minor drone had been detected. Elias froze for a heartbeat, then smiled. Humans did not panic. He triggered a series of rapid-fire subroutines. Lights flickered, walls projected phantom shapes, and the patrols were thrown into confusion. The human mind turned near disaster into opportunity. They reached the inner perimeter. The walls were insurmountable by alien standards, yet humans had no concept of impossible. Elias produced a device, a compact graviton disruptor, stolen and modified from Earth's experimental arsenal. It hummed with potential, warping gravitational fields just enough to allow a silent ascent over the towering defenses. Kalara climbed first, her royal blood granting her heightened agility. Elias followed, every motion precise, calculated, human ingenuity in perfect harmony with her alien grace. Orion slept peacefully in his carrier, unaware that his first lesson in survival was unfolding around him. At the top, they paused. The heart of the city lay before them, the palace of the alien queen towering, massive, awe-inspiring. Energy fields danced along its walls, defenses layered upon defenses, ancient power coursing like blood through veins of metal. And yet, Elias's gaze was steady. "The humans will find a way in," Kalara murmured, her voice almost reverent. "Always, against the greatest odds, always." She thought of Earth, the countless battles her husband had survived, the unyielding human determination that refused to bow to fear or impossibility. They moved into palace grounds, slipping past patrols with invisible precision. A sudden flash of movement, a guard at the corner. Elias reacted instantly. He did not shoot. Humans often outsmarted, rather than outgunned. He triggered a micro-emitter on his belt. The guard's neural sensors overloaded, rendering him temporarily unconscious. Kalara's eyes gleamed. Humanity's ingenuity was lethal not because it was fast, but because it was unpredictable. The palace gates loomed ahead, massive, imbued with ancient power that had kept invaders at bay for centuries. Kalara approached, placing her hand on the energy field. It pulsed, recognizing her as a daughter, yet resisting her human companion. She whispered to Elias, "We must merge our strengths. The human mind and my royal energy combined can bypass this." He nodded, linking his neural interface with her energy field. The palace shuddered under the force of combined human cunning and alien power. Locks clicked, barriers fizzled, and the gates parted silently, granting them entry. Inside, the corridors were a maze of alien technology, traps, and sentries designed to crush intruders. Yet Every challenge seemed to energize Elias, his mind racing with solutions, improvisations, and strategies. Kaler moved beside him, a perfect symphony of human and alien instincts, their steps a dance of unstoppable precision. Ahead, a chamber glowed ominously. Kalera's mother, the alien queen, waited, seated upon a throne forged from stars and dark matter. Her eyes blazed with recognition, fury, and disbelief. The daughter she thought loyal had returned, but not alone. And the human at her side, the one she deemed inferior, stood as her equal in courage, intellect, and power. The queen's voice echoed, cold and commanding. "You dare return within a child?" Kalera stepped forward, holding Orion high, his small form radiating an aura of possibility. "This child," she said, voice resonant, "represents a future you cannot control. And humanity has taught me that control is never absolute. Strength, courage, and intelligence will always find a way." Elias raised his rifle, not as a weapon to kill, but as a declaration. Humans do not submit. Humans do not yield. Humans adapt, survive, and conquer where others falter. The queen rose, an energy storm swirling around her, ancient power ready to strike. But Elias smiled, already calculating, already anticipating, already turned impossible into opportunity. The chamber exploded into motion. Power clashed with ingenuity. Rage met strategy. Alien might met human cunning. And in the eye of that storm, Orion stirred, the first stirrings of a legacy that would shake the universe itself. The chamber trembled as the alien queen unleashed a surge of energy, black lightning arcing across the walls, hissing against the alien metal, like a storm tearing through the heavens. Kalera raised her hand, a barrier of shimmering light forming between them and the destructive blast. Elias moved with calm precision, scanning the queen's patterns, her rhythm, her weaknesses. Humans had learned to read motion and anticipate outcomes in microseconds, turning even overwhelming odds into advantage. The queen's fury was unstoppable. Massive energy waves tore through the chamber, but Elias and Kalera adapted instantly. He deployed kinetic stabilizers, small devices that warped gravitational fields to redirect destructive blasts harmlessly into the walls. She twisted her energy aura, bending the queen's strikes, returning fragments of power and controlled bursts that kept the enemy off balance. "You are clever," the queen hissed, eyes narrowing. "Clever and reckless." Kalera stepped forward, holding Orion closer, feeling the faint pulse of the child's nascent powers. "This is not recklessness," she said, her voice steady, unwavering. "This is humanity. Intelligence, courage, and adaptability combined with the wisdom of my bloodline. And we will not fail." Elias seized a moment. He had observed the queen's energy pattern, a small but critical delay between bursts, the brief moment when she recalibrated her strikes. He activated a human-engineered resonance pulse, a low hum that resonated with her energy field, temporarily destabilizing it. The queen faltered, her attacks wobbling. Kalera surged forward, energy flaring around her like a comet's tail. She struck a defensive conduit, one of the palace's ancient devices that amplified her mother's energy. The backlash forced the queen to retreat, if only momentarily. The chamber echoed with the sound of raw power, colliding with human ingenuity. "Do not underestimate them," the queen roared, her voice shaking the walls themselves. "They are merely humans. Fragile, short-lived, insignificant." Elias stepped from behind Kalera, eyes blazing. "Humans are unpredictable. Humans survive. Humans thrive when everything else says they cannot. And that is your greatest mistake." He activated a rapid sequence interface, hacking the palace's energy conduits with a combination of human coding genius and improvisation under fire. A cascade of systems blinked offline, forcing the queen to redirect her energy to stabilize her defenses rather than continue her attack. Kalera's eyes met Elias's, a silent communication passing between them. They moved as one. One strike, one coordinated effort, combining alien power and human strategy, weaving through chaos with precision only the impossible could demand. Orion cooed in his carrier, tiny hands stretching, a faint glow of energy radiating from him. Even the child seemed aware, instinctively sensing that his parents were shaping the future with every calculated move. The queen's expression shifted from rage to shock. Never before had anyone used her own palace against her while standing unscathed in the heart of her power. Outside, the city quaked as minor defenses faltered, energy shields flickering. The queen's generals, vast fleets of alien warriors, hesitated, sensing the tide beginning to turn. Humans were not meant to survive this world, yet here they were, bending the rules of the impossible. Kaler and Elias had become the storm the galaxy had never anticipated. The queen roared, a sound that shook even the stars, and surged forward with a concentrated beam of pure energy, aimed directly at Elias. He did not flinch. He calculated every angle, every vector, and with one precise maneuver, deflected the beam into the chamber's energy core. The resulting explosion sent shock waves rippling through the palace, knocking even the queen to her knees. Kaelora seized a moment, extending her energy aura into the royal throne itself. Ancient mechanisms responded to her presence, acknowledging her as the rightful heir and amplifying her power. The queen struggled to rise, her fury mixing with disbelief. Elias approached, steady and unyielding. Humanity proves itself in the impossible. You can wield your ancient power, but you cannot comprehend our determination, our creativity, our spirit. And that is why we will endure. The queen glared, but for the first time, she hesitated. The daughter she had believed obedient, the human she had dismissed, and the child who represented a future neither of them could control, stood united. The chamber was silent for a heartbeat, save for the hum of residual energy and the faint coo of a child who carried the legacy of two worlds. Kaelora took Orion in her arms, stepping forward. "Mother," she said, voice calm but commanding, "we do not come to destroy. We come to prove that strength is not measured by domination, but by courage, intelligence, and the ability to rise above the impossible. This is the lesson of humanity." The queen's gaze hardened, yet even in her fury, a flicker of realization crossed her features. The war for control, the battle she expected, had transformed into a trial of something greater, something she had never truly understood, the indomitable power of the human spirit. And in the silence that followed, the first real choice of the galaxy hung in the balance, the next moment ready to erupt with consequences that would echo through the stars. The alien queen slowly rose from her throne, her energy aura crackling like a storm about to break. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, fixed on Kaelora, Elias, and the child in her arms. For the first time, she hesitated, not out of fear, but because the galaxy had never presented her with an opponent like this. "You dare defy centuries of tradition," she said, voice resonating through the vast chamber. "Do you think your human cunning, your childish alliances, can challenge the might of my empire?" Kaelora took a step forward, unwavering. "This is not defiance," she said, her voice steady, carrying authority that belonged to both her lineage and her human blood. "This is evolution. Humanity proves its strength not by rule, but by survival, adaptation, and courage. And we will not bow to fear, control, or expectation." Elias mirrored her confidence, standing tall beside her, the child resting safely in his arms. "The galaxy underestimates humans at its peril," he said, voice calm yet charged. "Humans think, humans create, humans adapt. You have power, yes, but we have strategy, resilience, and ingenuity. And that is something no empire, no ancient force, has ever truly conquered." The queen's aura flared, casting shadows that seemed to swallow the chamber. She unleashed a wave of energy, a test of strength meant to crush those who dared oppose her. Kaelora raised her shield, energy bending around her as Elias calculated the optimal trajectory to minimize exposure while exploiting the queen's momentary vulnerability. The human mind, combined with alien intuition, was a storm the galaxy had not seen before. With a calculated move, Elias disrupted the floor beneath the queen with a localized gravimetric pulse, forcing her to recalibrate her stance. Kaelora surged forward, channeling her energy through the palace conduits, amplifying her strike, not to destroy, but to demonstrate control, precision, and intelligence. The queen staggered, caught off guard by the unorthodox combination of human technology and alien power. Outside the palace, fleets of alien warships sensed the disturbance. They were disciplined, vast, and merciless, But the humans had already begun the subtle maneuvers that would turn confusion into advantage. Drones moved unseen, communications jammed, subspace pathways shifted to allow surprise attacks, all orchestrated with human creativity that no alien tactical algorithm could predict. The Queen glared at her daughter, realization dawning. "You learn from them?" Kaelora nodded. "Yes, from humans. Their courage, their unpredictability, their refusal to surrender. These are weapons as powerful as any fleet or energy field, and I have chosen to wield them wisely." The chamber vibrated as the Queen unleashed another assault, but this time it was met with countermeasures so precise, so creative, that even she could not anticipate them. Elias redirected power flows, turned destructive energy back into harmless arcs, and coordinated subtle manipulations of the palace systems, turning the Queen's own defenses into controlled chaos. Every attack became a lesson in human adaptability, and every move a statement. Humans are not weak, fragile, or expendable. They are unstoppable when driven by purpose. Orion stirred in his father's arms, a soft glow radiating from him, as if sensing the power and intelligence of the human lineage fused with royal blood. Kaelora looked at the child and whispered, "This is the future, one where courage, intelligence, and strength are recognized, respected, and never underestimated." The Queen's fury intensified, yet a subtle shift began within her. The universe had taught her that strength alone was not enough. Strategy, innovation, and courage were equally formidable. And humans, these unpredictable, brilliant creatures, had just proven that they could match, and perhaps surpass, even the mightiest of empires. The chamber fell silent for a moment, the storm of power suspended in a fragile balance. Every energy pulse, every movement, every calculated risk hung in the air. The Queen's next decision would determine the course of an empire, the fate of worlds, and the future of the child who symbolized a merging of two extraordinary legacies. Kaelora stepped closer to the Queen, her presence commanding yet respectful. "This is your choice," she said. "Join us or be challenged, not with hate, but with the relentless drive of those who refuse to accept the impossible. Humanity proves that the galaxy is not ruled by power alone. Strength, courage, and intelligence define the future." The Queen's eyes narrowed, her mind racing, considering the implications, the risks, the possibilities. For the first time in centuries, she did not see only loyalty and fear. She saw potential, brilliance, and an unknown power that had never before walked her halls. And in the heart of the chamber, with Orion cradled in human arms, the universe waited. Every star, every fleet, every observer across the galaxy would soon witness a force that was more than human, more than alien, more than anyone could have imagined. A force born from the impossible, thriving in danger, and proving that humans, ordinary fragile humans, were capable of extraordinary feats. The next move would ignite a chain of events that no empire could predict, a storm that would reshape alliances, test loyalties, and define the destiny of two worlds. The alien Queen's eyes flickered with something she had not felt in centuries, curiosity mixed with grudging respect. Her hands, still crackling with raw energy, relaxed slightly as she regarded Kaelora, Elias, and the child. "This alliance you offer," she said, voice sharp but measured, "is unprecedented. Humans have never been invited into the heart of our empire. Why should I trust them?" Kaelora stepped forward, her aura pulsing with a calm authority. "Because you have already seen their power," she said, her gaze unwavering. "Trust is not the foundation of strength. Understanding and respect are, and humans command both through courage, ingenuity, and resilience." Elias lowered the rifle, his posture confident yet non-threatening. "We do not seek to conquer," he said. "We seek to prove that strength comes in many forms. The galaxy underestimates us because they cannot anticipate our creativity, our willingness to survive, and our ability to adapt to the impossible." The Queen's lips pressed into a thin line. Outside, the alien generals murmured among themselves, fleets tense and ready to respond to any signal. But none of them had predicted this. A human-led daughter of the Empire, standing not in fear, but in command. Kaelora held Orion closer, the child's small eyes glowing faintly with untrained energy. "Look at him," she said softly, yet every word resonated in the chamber. This child carries the blood of both worlds. The future belongs to those who rise above fear, who combine strength with intelligence, courage with strategy. Humanity has already proven this. You can either join us or resist, and face a force you cannot predict. The Queen exhaled slowly, the weight of millennia pressing down on her. She had ruled with unmatched power, crushing rebellion and shaping empires. Yet here, confronted by the unrelenting drive of humans, she realized the rules of the universe were shifting. Strength alone would no longer guarantee supremacy. Finally, she spoke, voice steady but heavy with consideration. "Very well," she said. "You may remain, but make no mistake. Trust is earned, not granted. Prove to me that your presence is an asset, not a threat. And if you fail..." Kalara nodded, energy rippling around her like the calm before a storm. "We will not fail," she said, voice unwavering. "And neither will humanity." Elias exhaled, adrenaline still sharp in his veins. Outside, human-engineered drones moved quietly among alien ships, planning subtle disruptions that would prevent sudden attacks, while signaling the Queen's fleet that her daughter's new allies were already at work. The first true human demonstration of strategy and ingenuity had begun, not with guns, but with vision, calculation, and the courage to step into the heart of the Empire. The Queen's gaze softened, though still cautious. She gestured toward the massive holographic map at the center of the chamber, showing territories, fleets, and hidden threats. "You wish to change the galaxy," she said, voice lower now, almost thoughtful. "Then show me the way. Humans, you will have your trial. Survive it, and the Empire will follow. Fail, and the galaxy will remember your arrogance." Kalara smiled, energy aura flickering like starlight. "This is not arrogance," she said. "This is inevitability. Humanity thrives in the impossible, and together we will prove that strength is not just raw power, it is courage, intelligence, and the will to rise above every challenge." Elias activated the tactical interface, already planning the first offensive maneuver that would not only secure the palace, but demonstrate human brilliance to every corner of the Empire. He glanced at Kalara. "Shall we?" he asked. She nodded, stepping forward with Orion held securely. Outside, alien fleets waited, tension palpable, unaware that the humans within had already turned every threat into opportunity, every danger into an advantage. The first move of a human-led revolution had begun, and the galaxy, vast and dangerous, would never underestimate humanity again. The chamber doors closed behind them, energy seals humming, and the next stage of the conflict began, one that would test courage, intelligence, and strength beyond anything the universe had ever witnessed. Outside the palace, the alien fleet had formed a near-perfect blockade, their massive ships glowing with lethal energy and bristling with weapons designed to annihilate anything in their path. Most would have seen this as a trap, an impossible wall of force meant to crush intruders without mercy. Elias smiled. Humans had never excelled at doing the expected. He tapped into the palace's energy grid, linking human-engineered drones with the ancient alien systems. A subtle flicker of the fleet's sensors indicated confusion, minor anomalies, but enough to create cracks in perfection. Kalara stepped onto the observation platform, holding Orion, eyes glowing with a calm fury. "Every fleet has a flaw," she whispered. "Every system a weak point. Humans will find it, exploit it, and turn it against them." The first strike came silently. Drones invisible to alien sensors skittered along the hulls of warships, planting destabilizing charges in their energy conduits. Energy shields flickered, weapons misfired, and communication links scrambled as the humans' combination of ingenuity and audacity unfolded. Elias tapped a series of commands, voice calm, precise. Timing synchronized. Phase 1, activate. A ripple ran to the alien fleet. Ships spinning, shields collapsing momentarily. Entire battalions rendered ineffective without a single direct hit. The humans had turned chaos into strategy, exploiting the rigid predictability of the alien minds. The Queen's eyes widened. "Humans," she muttered, all breaking through her usual fury. "They are not just surviving, they're orchestrating the battle itself." Kalara leaned over, whispering to Elias. "They do not anticipate us, because humans do not follow patterns, and that is their advantage. The humans moved with lethal efficiency. Small, targeted strikes destabilized flagship engines, forcing captains to react offensively while human drones sabotaged supply lines. Entire fleets were disrupted before the aliens could respond with coordinated attacks. Every human action was precise, creative, and unpredictable. Orion stirred in his mother's arms. Tiny fingers glowed with a faint pulse of latent energy, as if sensing the unfolding genius of his father and the indomitable courage of his mother. Kalara felt a surge of pride. This child was not merely the heir to her bloodline. He was a living embodiment of human adaptability and alien legacy combined. Elias glanced at the Queen. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Humans will show the galaxy that even against overwhelming odds, intelligence, courage, and adaptability can rewrite destiny. And your empire will witness it firsthand." The Queen's lips pressed into a thin line, realization dawning that the humans had already claimed the advantage. This was not brute force. They had turned calculation, improvisation, and cunning into weapons. For the first time in centuries, she wondered if her empire had underestimated not just her daughter, but the human species as a whole. A massive energy wave swept through the outer fleet, collapsing multiple ships, yet no humans fell. Every movement, every strike, every countermeasure had been calculated. Even the most advanced alien tactics were rendered predictable when faced with human ingenuity. Kalara stepped closer to Elias, energy aura flaring as she prepared for the next wave of assault. "This is only Phase 1, she said. Phase 2 will take them by surprise. Humans do not wait. They create opportunity. And the galaxy will never see them the same way again." The Queen's gaze softened, grudging respect breaking through centuries of dominance. She realized the truth. Humans were not merely fragile creatures. They were unpredictable, unrelenting, and unstoppable when intelligence and courage combined. The first strike had been a demonstration. The next move will be decisive. And humanity, backed by the legacy of Kalara, was about to show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the humans to write the next chapter in a galaxy that had never dared to imagine them victorious. The outer fleet convulsed in disarray, alien ships spinning, energy shields flickering, commanders shouting in confusion as their meticulously planned formations unraveled. Elias stood at the observation console, calm, calculating, his mind moving faster than any computer aboard the palace ship could process. "This is Phase 2, he said, voice steady. "Time to turn confusion into decisive advantage." Kalara nodded, energy rippling around her like living fire. "This is what humans do," she whispered. "Where others see chaos, they see opportunity. Where others panic, they strike. And we will show them what that means." The first wave of human-modified drones dove into the heart of the alien fleet, striking at energy cores and navigation systems with surgical precision. Entire battalions faltered, forced to retreat, or risked catastrophic failure. The Queen's generals barked orders, but every attempt to counter the human maneuvers fell short. They had never faced opponents who could adapt in real time, anticipate their strategies, and exploit their rigidity with relentless creativity. Orion cooed softly, a faint glow emanating from him as the child sensed the unfolding brilliance of his parents. Kalara smiled, holding him close. "This is only the beginning," she said. "Every strike, every calculation, every act of courage proves the human spirit is not to be underestimated." Elias tapped a series of commands, redirecting energy flows from the palace's shields into a localized subspace distortion field. Alien sensors failed to detect the maneuver until it was too late. Several flagship vessels collided in confusion, engines overloaded, weapons misfiring. The humans' combination of intuition, technology, and daring had created a battlefield advantage no alien force could predict. The Queen's eyes widened as she watched her empire falter, not from lack of power, but from the human ability to think, improvise, and act decisively under impossible conditions. Her aura flared, dark energy coiling like a storm. Yet she paused, realizing the truth she had avoided for centuries. Humans were not merely survivors. They were innovators, warriors, and a force that could redefine the galaxy itself. Kalara stepped forward, aura blazing, every motion precise. "Mother," she said, voice unwavering, You underestimated humanity because you believe power alone ruled the universe. But humans prove otherwise. Intelligence, courage, creativity. These are weapons no force can withstand. Elias raised a hand, activating a sequence of coordinated strikes across the fleet. Ships that had seemed invincible a moment ago now floundered, their formations fractured by human ingenuity. Even the most disciplined alien commanders could not predict the next move. Every action was adaptive, every reaction part of a larger strategy. The Queen's lips pressed into a thin line, tension crackling in the chamber as she realized her empire's vulnerability. She had ruled with fear, domination, and unmatched power, but never had she faced a force that combined the unpredictability of humans with the precision of her own bloodline. Kaler and Elias moved as one, orchestrating a symphony of strategy, courage, and precision that left the alien fleet in chaos. Orion stirred in Kaler's arms, the glow from his tiny form pulsing in rhythm with the energy around them. Even the child carried the promise of a future where humans and aliens could combine strength, intelligence, and ingenuity to shape the galaxy in ways previously unimaginable. The first true victory was unfolding, not a conquest through destruction, but a demonstration of human brilliance and resilience. The galaxy was watching, and humanity, in the heart of an alien empire, had just proven that it could not be controlled, ignored, or defeated. The Queen's gaze hardened, yet beneath the fury and disbelief, a seed of understanding had taken root. Humans were not mere pawns in the cosmic order. They were catalysts, agents of change, and embodiments of potential beyond measure. Kaler took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history and the responsibility of legacy. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "Phase 3 will decide the next era. The galaxy will remember this day, not for fear, not for power, but for the human spirit that refuses to be crushed, even by the impossible." And above them, the stars shone cold and distant, witnesses to the dawn of a human-led revolution that would shake the foundations of the universe itself. The battlefield above the alien capital shimmered with energy, a chaotic symphony of light, fire, and power. Human ingenuity and alien technology clashed against centuries of raw imperial force. Yet amid the chaos, one truth had begun to emerge. The galaxy had never truly faced humans before. Elias stood on the observation deck, the hum of machinery and the distant roars of engines a distant backdrop to his calm, calculating mind. He adjusted the tactical interface, orchestrating movements across the battlefield like a conductor guiding a symphony. Every maneuver, every diversion, every strike had been meticulously planned yet flexible enough to adapt in real time. Human strategy was not rigid. It was alive, evolving with every moment. Kaler hovered beside him, her aura blazing with a steady brilliance, calm even amid the maelstrom. Her alien instincts honed over millennia blended seamlessly with human ingenuity. In her arms, Orion slept, the faint glow of his inherited powers flickering gently as if attuned to the flow of energy surrounding them. He was a symbol of what could be achieved when two species, both strong and courageous, combined their gifts. The Queen watched from her throne, her massive aura still pulsing with rage and power, yet tempered by awe. She had ruled the galaxy for centuries, her authority unchallenged. Empires had risen and fallen under her gaze, yet she had never faced a force like this. Humans, unpredictable, clever, and unyielding. The realization had settled deep in her mind. Strength alone no longer ruled the universe. Intelligence, courage, adaptability, and the relentless drive to survive and evolve had now carved their place among the stars. "Mother," Kaler said, her voice carrying clearly across the throne chamber, unwavering even in the face of a storm of energy. "This is not conquest. This is proof. Proof that strength does not belong solely to the powerful, but to those who have the courage to rise, the ingenuity to outthink, and the will to endure." The Queen's eyes narrowed. Centuries of experience told her to strike, to crush this human and alien alliance before it became unstoppable. Yet she hesitated. Every attack she had unleashed so far had been thwarted, diverted, or outmaneuvered. Every expectation she had held about human weakness had been proven false. Her daughter and this human, Elias, were shaping the battlefield itself, turning chaos into opportunity and threat into advantage. Outside, The alien fleet had descended into disarray. Ships collided, shields failed, and advanced weaponry malfunctioned as humans exploited every crack in their formations. The combination of Kalera's royal knowledge and Elias's strategic brilliance had turned the tide without firing a single overwhelming barrage. Small, precise interventions disrupted the enemy's coordination, and drones, human-modified and alien-enhanced, worked with flawless efficiency to dismantle complex systems before they could react. "This is incredible," the Queen muttered under her breath. Her voice carried both astonishment and a grudging respect. "They are humans, and yet they fight with the precision and foresight of an entire fleet." Kalera held Orion closer, feeling his tiny heartbeat sync with hers, a reminder of what they were fighting for. Not just victory, but the future, one where courage, intelligence, and adaptability would determine outcomes rather than fear and domination. Elias spoke, voice low but firm. "Every empire relies on expectation. You expected fear. You expected submission. You expected weakness. But humans, we are the unexpected. We do not yield. We survive. We overcome. And today, we prove that even your most disciplined forces cannot predict or control what we do next." The Queen's energy flared once more, a massive storm of pure power directed at the palace's central core. It was her greatest attempt to crush her daughter and the human who dared to challenge her. The throne chamber shuddered under the intensity, energy tearing across the floors and walls. Yet Kalera and Elias did not falter. With an almost seamless coordination, they manipulated the palace's own defenses against the storm. Kalera drew upon her royal bloodline, channeling the energy of the palace conduits and amplifying it with the precision of human calculation. Elias moved like a shadow, rerouting power flows, countering attacks with kinetic dampeners, and turning destructive energy into harmless arcs that shielded them while destabilizing the Queen's assault. The Queen staggered, caught off guard by the audacity and brilliance of their combined efforts. Her attacks, devastating in isolation, had become ineffective against a force that anticipated, adapted, and exploited every opportunity. Human creativity had turned her overwhelming might into a manageable challenge. Orion stirred, tiny hands glowing faintly, responding to controlled chaos around him. Kalera glanced down at him, a spark of pride igniting in her chest. This child embodied a fusion of courage and intelligence, adaptability and instinct. He was the next step in a universe where humans could rise beyond expectation, beyond limitation, and beyond the bounds of fear itself. Elias stepped forward, raising a hand in a gesture of resolve. "This is the power of human spirit," he said. "We are not merely survivors. We are creators, strategists, thinkers, and fighters. And we prove that even the impossible can be overcome with courage, ingenuity, and determination." The Queen's eyes narrowed, and a subtle shift began within her. She had spent centuries ruling with the certainty of dominance, but now she saw the unshakable truth. Humans were a force that could not be contained by power alone. They were unpredictable, resilient, and relentless. And alongside her daughter, they had become a storm capable of reshaping empires. For a moment, silence fell in the throne chamber. The energy crackled faintly, the air thick with anticipation. Outside, the alien fleets hesitated, sensing the shift in control. Commanders struggled to understand how a single human, alongside a single daughter of the Empire, had disrupted their formations with precision, creativity, and foresight. They had expected chaos. They had not expected mastery. Kalera approached her mother, aura glowing with controlled brilliance. "This is your choice," she said. "Join us. Recognize the value of courage, intelligence, and innovation. Embrace this alliance, or continue to resist and witness the rise of a force even your centuries of power cannot suppress." The Queen's hands trembled slightly, not from weakness, but from the weight of realization. Her empire had survived countless threats, yet had never faced a species that could combine intellect, courage, and creativity to outmaneuver even the most overwhelming power. She regarded her daughter and the human standing beside her, and slowly, the storm of anger and pride gave way to something she had not expected: respect. Finally, she spoke, voice measured and deliberate. "I see now that power is not enough. Strength alone does not endure. Intelligence, courage, and adaptability, These are the true forces that shape the galaxy. If humanity proves itself as you claim, then it shall have my recognition. But be warned, human, your trial is only beginning." Kalara smiled, holding Orion high. "We accept. Humanity will always prove itself. Not through domination, but through resilience, ingenuity, and the courage to rise against the impossible." Elias exhaled, relief and pride mixing with the lingering adrenaline. Outside, the alien fleets had begun to retreat, confused but intact, forced to recognize the unexpected brilliance of human strategy. They had survived, outsmarted, and thrived in a situation that would have crushed any conventional species. The Queen's generals, once proud and confident, now moved with caution, beginning to acknowledge that a new era had begun. Humans were not mere pawns in galactic politics. They were a force capable of reshaping empires, rewriting strategies, and forcing even the oldest civilizations to adapt. Kalara and Elias moved to the observation deck. Orion nestled safely in Kalara's arms. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to the triumph of courage, intelligence, and resilience. Humanity had proven itself not through raw power alone, but through adaptability, ingenuity, and a relentless drive to survive and thrive. The Queen approached, her aura still powerful, yet tempered with newfound respect. She extended a hand, not in surrender, but in recognition of what had been accomplished. "You have shown me that humans are extraordinary. Perhaps they are worthy of the galaxy itself." Kalara took her mother's hand, nodding solemnly. "We will honor that trust, and together, we will ensure that courage, intelligence, and ingenuity guide the future. Not fear, not domination, but possibility and growth." Elias watched, hand resting lightly on Kalara's shoulder. He had fought countless battles, survived the impossible, and led humans through scenarios no one else could have navigated. Yet standing here, witnessing the recognition of human ingenuity by one of the galaxy's oldest powers, he felt a new pride, a knowledge that humans had not only survived, but had changed the course of history. The fleets began to withdraw, the palace's system stabilizing under Kalara and Elias's guidance. The alien forces would return, no doubt, but they would never underestimate humans again. Every engagement from this point forward would be tempered by the understanding that courage, intelligence, and adaptability were weapons more powerful than any energy beam or fleet formation. Kalara looked at Orion, whose eyes now opened wide, reflecting the swirling lights of the palace and the stars beyond. "This is only the beginning, little one," she whispered. "Your future is unbound. Humans have proven what they can achieve, and now it is your turn to carry that legacy." Elias smiled, proud and resolute. "The galaxy will learn just as we have. Strength is not just in power. It is in courage, intelligence, and the will to rise above any challenge. And humanity has no equal in that regard." The Queen stepped back, letting them lead, acknowledging the truth she had long ignored. Humans were extraordinary. Together, she, Kalara, and Elias would forge a new era, a galaxy reshaped not by fear, but by ingenuity, courage, and the unrelenting human spirit. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond the palace windows, Kalara, Elias, and Orion looked toward the horizon. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers, mysteries, and challenges that no species could face alone. Yet humans, they realized, had proven one undeniable truth, that no matter the obstacle, the impossible could be overcome with courage, intelligence, and the relentless will to survive. And so, a new chapter began. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again.